Welcome into the College Football Every Game on the Board podcast, week number 13. We got our leadoff hitter here at Jeff Nadeau on Twitter. Jeff Nadeau, he's got the sit-down podcast. He knows his college football. Jeff, welcome on in, bud. How you feeling?
Well, I'm a little sad, Drew. I realized last night, laying in bed, that this Saturday and next Saturday are the last football Saturdays of the year. And I've realized over the last 5 or so years that I love college basketball, but there's nothing better than college football, at least to me. I've had a great, run in it. It's fun. I enjoy it. It sucks that it goes so quick.
I second that, man. It is it can be a sad time, but hey, the 12-team playoff, we'll see how this kind of bakes in. And we do have
plenty of bowls too,
Yeah. Bowl season right around the corner. All right, guys, if you are new to Every Game on the Board, wherever you're downloading your podcast at, Every Game on the Board, it's in the name. We're hitting every single game on the college football slate. We go down in rotation order, the little numbers next to the team name. 107, 108, Ohio, and Toledo, Wednesday, November 20th. We're talking a little MACtion here, starting off the Week 13 slate. We are seeing 46 as the total, some under money coming in here, Jeff. -1 in the hook. That's the Toledo Rockets as the short home favorite. We're heading to the Glass Bowl to kick off the week. You liking anything Ohio and Toledo?
Yeah, this is a pretty big game, right? I mean, two of the better teams in the MAC. Obviously, this is a conference that's a bit topsy-turvy at times. You never really know what to expect. I lean Ohio here, Drew. Gun to my head. I didn't love the game. I think it's really tough. These are two well-coached teams. Ohio's looked, I think, a little bit better defensively to me. I feel like they're a little bit more adept at stopping the run. Toledo's had kind of a tough season due to the fact that they didn't have their quarterback, Tucker Gleason, for a period of time. He was out in certain games. And, like, for instance, the game against Buffalo, he didn't play. They lost that game 30-15. So I feel like the season could have went maybe a lot different. And now that Gleason's back, I think that gives Toledo a whole nother element. He gives them the ability to run the ball. I thought it was such a coin flip. I think the defenses are really kind of the key here. Important game, lot going for this one. I think it's probably first to like 24 wins. I think it's like 24-21. I didn't think there was much value in this one. Lean Ohio slightly, but I think Toledo is obviously a different team. They probably are like an 8-2, 9-1 team if Gleason plays the whole year.
Love the breakdown, Jeff. Great start here. I'll tell you something I took away from this one. The Ohio Bobcats, they were a 10-win team last year. Tim Albert, they've reloaded, man. I mean, the quarterback gone. Curtis Rourke, he transfers out. This guy, Parker Navarro, he was the backup for Dylan Gabriel. And then for Curtis Rourke, 2 top 5 quarterbacks right now by the rankings. This guy might be like a little hidden gem. And sure enough, they might get to 10 wins again this season. I've been really impressed by Ohio, Jeff.
Yeah, I hear you. I think they're a team, they were under Frank Solich for years. They were good back then. They always had decent running backs and a good offense and always a solid defense. They're one of those quality mid-major programs in football we don't talk about. I think they're kind of the essence of what the MAC's all about. And you're right. I mean, Navarro's played really well. I was impressed last week with this group against the Eastern Michigan, really kind of shut them out. They've been just seemingly all conference defensively. There's really I haven't seen one game this year where they really haven't played well, maybe outside of the Miami O game, but Miami O is the best team in this conference. They were my preseason pick to win it, but these are the two teams that are vying to still maybe have a shot to do it. Tough game. I like both programs.
Nice pick there with the Miami of Ohio look. Yeah, they are strong in this conference. We'll move down the list. 109, 110. This is 7 o'clock Eastern as well. Buffalo in Eastern Michigan. We're heading to the gray turf here. -1. That's EMU as the short home favorite. 52 and a hook being the total. Buffalo in Eastern Michigan here, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, EMU is a team that I always like as an underdog. They've covered 24 of the last, I think, 40 against the spread as an underdog. But in this spot, they're going to be a favorite. And, they're bowl eligible to win. I think they are slightly the better team here overall. I think they are the better defense for sure under Chris Creighton. I like their quarterback, Cole Snyder. But then again, I also have liked what Ogbonna and Buffalo have done this year. Another tough game, 2 really tough MAC games in a conference that's mostly a toss-up. I'll just lean on Chris Creighton and EMU being at home, bulgeable with a win, a little bit better defense. And they are 7-3 against the number overall this year. They had no trouble last year at Buffalo. Kind of need one more game to get a bowl eligibility spot. They're not going to win this conference. I think they're probably the better team here. I'll lean their way as well here. 2 tough games.
All right, Wednesday in the books here, guys. We're going down Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the top of the Saturday card. This is the first part of a 3-part series here, hitting every game on the board. Thursday, November 21st, it's NC State and Georgia Tech. We are seeing the Ramblin' Wreck -8 to as high as -9-point home favorites. 51 in the hook. Bobby Dodd Stadium, personally one of my favorite stadiums in the world here. Thursday night should be a pretty fun atmosphere in Atlanta. I like the Yellow Jackets here, Jeff. Off of that Miami win, NC State, this defense had a rough go of it. How do you see this one in the ATL?
I think it's a bit of a letdown. I was surprised to see this number this high. Obviously, you're paying a little bit of a tax to bet on Georgia Tech because we have seen at times this year they've been really impressive. They got Haynes King back. Obviously, that was key. Miami fell apart. I think for all that's happened to NC State this year, they're 5-5. I mean, I think that's kind of a win for this team. I mean, they had to replace Grayson McCall with a new quarterback, CJ Bailey. He's had his growing pains at times. They've played some tough defenses, the Dukes, the Clemsons. But I think all in all, they've been pretty impressive under Dave Doran. I don't think this is a particularly strong NC State team, but they're on the precipice of getting to a bowl game with 2 remaining. They got this one and then their rival, North Carolina, next week. Georgia Tech, a little bit of a letdown. I could maybe see 6 or 7 laying that, but now you're laying up 9, 10. I didn't get there with this one. If it hits 10, maybe I'll have an eye on NC State. I've been kind of impressed with how well they've played, over the last second half of the season.
Fair enough. That's what makes the market. Maybe looking towards the dog there. Jeff, I noticed on last week's video, some people commenting in. I asked you about the NFL Thursday night. Do you like anything? If you don't, that's fine. Steelers and Browns. Steelers -3 and a hook, 36.5 the total.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be hard pressed to go against the Steelers in this game. I've been kind of weirdly stubborn with the Browns. I had them last week. I thought they were in a great spot, off a bye. Jameis Winston gives them a better chance to win, but they missed a couple of field goals, just really couldn't capitalize. It's hard to step in front of the Steelers right now. But I'll tell you what, Drew, we've seen some weird things happen in these Thursday night games where we have these really good teams, laying 2, 3, 3.5 on the road. Look, all things say Steelers, and they're kind of riding high right now. Why are they only a 3.5 point favorite here to the Browns? I mean, I feel like this should probably be higher. I think we'll have a situation where it'll be pros versus Joes here, and maybe Jameis has one of those games like he had against Baltimore, and they find a way to win. I'm not betting it. I've kind of had enough of the Browns at this point, but I could see the Browns hanging here.
Sure. Those Thursday night in the NFL, they are kind of head scratching at times. I'm a big fan of just Thursday night college football. I wish they would just give both of those teams the Saturday before, and then have like the primetime game on Thursday night. But I get it. The NFL gets paid $1 billion to do this. So.
I mean, we used to have like strong Thursday night cards in college football. You get like, great games, but they just don't do it anymore. It's a shame because it used to be kind of a great primer to the now they put a bunch of games on Friday night. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, a little Friday night lights. Speaking of it, guys, we get November 22nd here, a 3-pack of games in FBS level college football. 115, 116 Temple, the Owls versus UTSA, the Roadrunners, -17, -16 and a hook. That's UTSA as the home favorite. 56 the total in the Alamo Dome.
Yeah, last week, Drew, I went 5-0 on Patreon with my college football picks, and I got to tell you, I got really lucky with most of my games. I got kind of late touchdowns to put the games over. One of them was UTSA North Texas, had a big run by UTSA late in that game. I like this UTSA team. I've been happy with their late, 4 or 5 games in the season. I like the over in this game. I think UTSA putting them in the 50s is dangerous. This is an offense that can put up 40 plus themselves. McNown looks like a really good quarterback. Owen McCown, the quarterback there. Temple is one of the worst pass defenses in the country. UTSA is one of the faster tempos in America as well, sitting up top 10 in seconds per play. They throw the ball a lot, sitting 25th in pass play percentage. Temple's not far behind. They throw it at a top 30 clip as well. This is a Temple defense that can't get out of its own way. I think as long as you can get 17-ish here from Temple, I think this game goes over. I think it's like a 44-17 type of game. This UTSA team's tough. I really think this is what good coaching does for you. They've had a ton of injuries. If you look at this team, but they found a way to persevere, and I think they have a big blowout win here and put a bunch of points on the board. I think Temple could come through the back door and give us this over. I think 55, 56 is too low here for these two defenses.
Yeah, sure. Controlled climate, fast track as well there in the Alamo Dome. We get 117, 118 heading to the Big Ten Conference up next. The Boilermakers of Purdue on the road in East Lansing taking on Michigan State. The Spartans minus 13 and a hook. There is a minus 14 out there in the offshore market. 47.5, 48 being the total here, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't have much belief that Michigan State can win by margin. I mean, why are they this big a favorite? I know Purdue sucks, but I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe they're just kind of, they played a tough schedule, and they have. But, I mean, what was the excuse last week? To lose by 3+ touchdowns against Illinois? Just an ugly spot. I'm not real interested in this. Look, maybe you take Michigan State at times as a 17-point dog, but I have absolutely no interest in laying 2 touchdowns with this group. Could be a get-right game for them. They still are in the hunt to get to a bowl game, but they're only scoring, Drew, 19 points a game. So when we're looking at offenses here, these offenses are pretty even. Defensively, yeah, Purdue stinks, but I don't know if that warrants them being a huge – I could see this game like 31-14. It's going to be close. I have no interest in anything here.
The nightcap on Friday, 119-120. San Jose State hosting UNLV. This is 10 o'clock Eastern kick time, 7 o'clock local time. -7 in the hook. Pretty much across the board. That's the Running Rebels as the road favorite. There is a -8 out there, 61 being the total in the Mountain West game.
Yeah, another win I had last week was Boise San Jose over 61, and that pick 6 put the game over. It was a bad beat, I believe.
I saw that.
So I'll take it. You got to get lucky sometimes. I go right back to the well, probably with another over here. What's interesting, because San Jose State, their coach is Ken Niumatalolo, who used to be at Navy. They never threw the ball. San Jose now is one of the highest tempoed throw teams in the country. Drew, they throw the ball 65.3% of the time, which is the highest in the nation. Nobody throws the ball more than them. And I think it'll bode well for them here. I mean, UNLV is 120th in the country in pass defense. They're giving up almost 261 yards a game. We've seen them on the regular get pretty destroyed through the passing game. This isn't a particularly good San Jose State defense either. I'm going to go right back to the well with another over. It's essentially the same number. I could see San Jose State, maybe a team total. I could see them finding their way to the 30s. I'm going to guess their team total is like 27.5, 28. I could see them getting to that for sure. Last year, they won this game 37-31. This is a much better UNLV team, but I thought there were fireworks here late night out in San Jose.
Could definitely see it, guys, as we're going to turn the page here Saturday, November 23rd. 121, 122. We'll hit the top of the card here. Probably the first 8-10 games down to Mississippi and Florida, 141, 142, before we bring in mid-major Matt for the middle portion of every game on the board. We get top of the card here, Jeff. Georgia Southern and Coastal Carolina. It is the Chanticleers, -2 in the hook as the home favorite, 57 being the total in this Sun Belt Conference matchup.
Yeah, I feel like these two teams play every week, and I always get this game. It sucks. I hate this conference. I don't ever bet it. The one thing I have noticed this year is Georgia Southern's really good in the red zone. When they get there, they score touchdowns. It's been a weird season for Coastal. They lose McCall last year. Ethan Vasco, the quarterbacks, had a whole year. They've been a pretty good offense. These two teams are so close from a similarity standpoint. They both give up about 30 points a game. They both score about 30 points a game. I'll lean on Georgia Southern with the fact that they are getting points. They're pretty good against the spread, and they're good in the red zone. But outside of that, it's a tough game. Last year, Georgia Southern won this game 38-28. I could see a similar, situation here. Maybe over. I thought this total might be 60-61, but it's a tough one.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4 up next. This is kicking us off on Saturday. We're heading to Charlottesville, Virginia, SMU and Virginia. We are seeing the Mustangs -9 in the hook as the road favorite, 58 being the total. The Mustangs with their eyes on a playoff bid here, Jeff. Virginia, what at times playing some good football. Pretty good one kicking us off on Saturday.
Yeah, for Virginia, it really comes down to turnovers. If they can not turn the ball over, which has been a problem. I mean, they've turned the ball over a lot this year. That's really been kind of their MO. But when they're not turning the ball over, like most teams, they're pretty impressive. Now they struck out last week. Notre Dame is really good. Drew, sometimes in football and in handicapping in general, it's all about the plays you don't make, the plays you think you want to make that you don't make, and they end up working out. I liked SMU last week, and it didn't get the job done, and I'm glad I ended up not playing it. I think SMU's dealing with some of the pressure that they have. I'm going to tell you right now, I can't wait for them to play a real team. Kevin Jennings is a little skittish at quarterback. I think their defense is pretty bang average. They're going to struggle against teams that can throw the ball, and I think Virginia can. This is a big game for Virginia. They're still looking to get bowl eligible. They've got a great team coming in who's kind of a nationally ranked. Tony Elliott's a good coach. This one's circled for me, Drew. If I can get 10 or higher here, I'm going to probably play Virginia. They've been good as an underdog under Elliott, and something tells me they're going to have an answer in this game. Grayson James, a backup, moved the ball in SMU. I want to believe that Anthony Calandria can move the ball. Keep in mind, Drew, Virginia 8-2 over their last 10 as an underdog against the spread.
I like the breakdown there, bringing up Grayson Jennings. Grayson
James.
He was the backup for FIU, and he got beat out. Now he's moving the ball against it. That was a nice find there, Jeff.
He played pretty well. I mean, he obviously comes in as Castellanos left the program, but I thought he played well. I mean, they were right there to win that game. So I think Virginia's got to view this. They're going to be up for this game. I want to believe off a blowout. I think they can hang here.
Yeah, guys, they're as high as +9.5. Actually, there's some opinion in the marketplaces, if you will. A full point here, 8.5 to as high as 9.5. That is Virginia as the dog. We get Pittsburgh and Louisville up next. ACC staying here in the conference, 57 being the total. Louisville -8-point home favorites. Next up, Jeff.
Yeah, this is a game I was kind of lukewarm on. You said Louisville, right, Drew?
Yeah, Pittsburgh at Louisville is the next game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, my doorbell rang. I was a little confused. Yeah, Pitt, Louisville. Look, I was most surprised last week by Pitt. Honestly, and they had a backup quarterback. They go in and almost beat Clemson after losing to Virginia. Just a weird game. Louisville has been solid. I don't really know what they're playing for at this point. They also lost last week at Stanford. Who the hell knows what to expect from Louisville? I expected a lot more from this team, Drew, to be quite honest. I thought they'd be a team that would compete to win this conference. We just haven't seen it this year. I think a lot of it has to do with their defensive numbers. Just really haven't been able to get a ton of stops, and I don't have much confidence here. This was another tough game, a coin flip. I'm going to lean Pittsburgh. I'm going to lean on that defense, who I've watched. They are able to tackle. They do a nice job a lot of the time. So I'll lean Pitt, but another tough one.
In the doorbell, nothing important there, Jeff? You don't think?
I don't believe so. They didn't ring more than once. Probably UPS or something.
All right, man. We get Sam Houston State, Jacksonville State up next. Jack State -6-point home favorites, 55.5 being the total in Jacksonville, Alabama.
I always look at it like this, Drew. If it's really that important, they'll break it down. Always remember that as far as the doorbell. Other than that, Sam Houston, this is a big game in this conference, right? I mean, two teams that recently came into Division I and look where they are. I mean, they're up towards the top. Obviously, there's West Kentucky and some other teams battling it out here, but I like this Jacksonville State team, man. You talked about it. Rich Rod has a really good offense here. they've scored, I think, 40 or more in like 7 of the last 8 games. I mean, they're just an unbelievable offense. And you look at on the other side, Sam Houston's been kind of the darlings of the defense here in the Conference USA. I don't know if they're ready, Sam Houston, to step up. You look at their only step-up game, Drew, this year in this conference. They got blown out against Western Kentucky, 31-14. Really struggled against UCF as well. Something tells me Jack State at home's the play here. I think this offense is legit, and it's under a touchdown. I think this is like a 34-24 type of game. Give me the Gamecocks here at home.
Yeah, Jeff, Jacksonville State, Rich Rod in that offense. I could see him rolling it up. But you bring up a good point with Sam Houston State and their defense. I don't know, tough one. We'll see what happens. We're heading to the ACC up next, guys. 129-130. Wake Forest and Miami. Can the Canes bounce back? They're going to have to do so by margin here. Minus 24.5 as the home favorite. 65 being the total. Demon Deacons at the U from Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens.
Yeah, this one wasn't real difficult for me. I'm going to lay the team total here with Miami, 44.5. It's high, but remember, Drew, this team averages 45 points a game. So I just need them to get to their average. Couple things here. Wake has a bottom 5 pass defense in the country, and they're allowing over 281 yards a game. They have just gotten pummeled, and they face a lot of pass attempts. Teams average about 40 pass attempts against Wake, which tells me that teams know this team can't stop the pass, and they haven't stopped it. One problem that Wake also has is they play fast. They create a lot of extra possessions for their opponent. Wake 7th in the country in seconds per play. They go, and I think that'll create a couple extra possessions for Miami. I think Miami puts up a 51 spot here, 54 spot. I think they blow out Wake. Kind of what they need to do at this point. I don't think they're going to get there, but they're going to try to do so. I'll lay it. Give me a big game from Cameron Ward. Again, Drew, this team averages 45 points a game. I just need them to get to their average here.
Like the breakdown, Jeff, is we got UCF and West Virginia up next, 3:30 Eastern here, nationally televised game, -3. We've seen UCF take money here. They've been kind of a darling by the betting markets, even though it doesn't show in their straight-up record. They're going to have to go on the road here to West Virginia, 63 being the total. UCF and West Virginia up next, Jeff.
Yeah, this will probably be a sneaky good game, Drew, in Morgantown. 2 teams still vying for bowl eligibility. West Virginia's had to deal with some quarterback problems. Their quarterback Garrett Green hasn't played. They've had a backup in there. I believe Garrett Green came back last week, though. I could be wrong. Got to look more into that. Getting him back is obviously big. It does seem, Drew, like the bookmakers are catching up to UCF overs. They're not putting them into the 60s. So they're losing value. But I agree. They have been a bit of a darling. I like this Dylan Risk, this kid they started and put in a quarterback. He's been a fun player to watch. They have a good run offense, UCF, but it's tough to go to West Virginia and play well. I thought both these teams had some value. I'm going to lean on UCF just because I like them overall. I like this new quarterback they have, and I think they will run the ball effectively. Something tells me, though, this game will come down to the wire. I'll take a couple of points if I'm getting them.
Dylan Risk, the product of Cardinal Gibbons High School, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We'll move down. You know why I said that, Jeff?
I think you're from that area.
Yeah, no, that's where I went to high school and played quarterback, by the way. So
there you go.
Bowling Green and Ball State up next, -12. That's Bowling Green as the road favorite, 57 and a hook being the total. BG at Ball State in the MAC.
Yeah, season's over for Ball State. It's been a tough season for that group. They're giving up 40 points a game. In Bowling Green, I don't know. I'm not really running to lay 12 with them. I'd probably lean on them here. They do have one of the better players in the country in Harold Fannin, the tight end. Pretty good quarterback in Bazalik. That said, Bowling Green's not a group that I'm running to lay 2 touchdowns with. They've covered just 4 of the last 10 laying points. This is a double-digit favorite as well. And Ball State's not as bad, I guess, as like Akron or Kent. So, yeah, it's kind of a lukewarm number, kind of where you put it, 10 to 12, around that range. No interest.
Couple games left here, guys. All pretty good ones with Jeff Nadeau at Jeff Nadeau on Twitter. Check out his podcast, the Sit Down Podcast, talking all things the mob, the cartels, things of that nature. And he obviously knows his college football, knows his college basketball as well. You're listening to the Every Game on the Board podcast, talking every single game in college football from a betting perspective, wherever you're downloading your podcasts at. Every game on the board. North Carolina, Boston College up next. UNC minus 3-point road favorites, 55 and a hook being the total in Chestnut Hill here, Jeff.
Yeah, UNC playing good football, man. They've won a couple in a row now. They've gotten a bowl eligibility, which I think for this group is something to be happy about. You remember when they lost 70-30 or whatever to JMU? Omarion Hampton has played well for them. But BC, as I said, I was really impressed with them last week. Did a nice job against the run. This is a top 40 rushing defense. They're getting 3 at home. I think their quarterback has, to me, some belief that he can go out and maybe compete in a football game. I don't think this is going to stay at 3 for very long. I think BC's a live dog in this one at home, 5-5. Getting to that 6 wins is going to be really important over the last 2 games for BC. I think you got to lean with them here, getting 3 at home. I like this Grayson James. I was impressed with what he did. I think they have a good enough defense. I'll take the 3 with BC.
The home dog there. As we got Virginia Tech and Duke in the ACC. Good matchup here, Jeff. Minus 3 in the hook. That's the Hokies as the road favorite. 47.5 being the total. I kind of have both of these two teams as look to bet on. We've seen Virginia Tech take a little money, 3 and a hook as the road favorite.
Yeah, I like Duke myself. I've been a pretty big proponent in this team. I think they have a damn good defense, and I think, look, I remember back to that brutal spot with Miami where they were up 11 and then lost by 22 and didn't cover. But then they bounced right back and beat NC State by 10 last week. Kyron Drones, the Virginia Tech quarterback's been in and out of the lineup. I think it's about right number-wise. You're no real value to me. I like Duke. Am I ready to kind of lay points with them? Not particularly. I think they have a pretty good defense, but their offense does struggle at times. And your Virginia Tech hasn't won in a couple of weeks. They're kind of due. And looks like Drones is finally healthy. So I don't know, though. Can he move the ball against a great defense? Maybe under. I think under could have some value here. I don't really love either offense.
Jeff, next one up, we get Colorado and Kansas. I believe this is a named rivalry, but I don't know it off the top of my head. Tight point spread here. We get Coach Prime versus Lance Leopold, two, I guess you could say, good coaches in college football. Arrowhead Stadium, by the way, Kansas is redoing their home football stadium, so they're playing all their games the rest of the way in Arrowhead, home of the Chiefs. It's minus 2 and a hook. That's Colorado as the road favorite, 59.5 being the total.
Yeah, there's no rivalry name for this one, as far as I know. You would think there would be, but there is not. All right. Drew, I have Colorado 250-1 to win the entire thing.
Do you really?
I do, yeah. So we'll see. Can they get there? Yeah. I think getting there is the big thing, right? If they can get into the dance, you never know what might happen. They probably have the Heisman Trophy finalist. They probably have a top 5 pick at quarterback. They have a pretty solid defense. It's played well. And, they have a lot of excitement behind this program. Why are they only a 2.5-point favorite here? Look, Kansas has improved, but I feel like Kansas got their big win last week. I still wonder if Colorado's defense is legit the whole way through. Kansas' offense is back to being kind of what we expected them to be. This total, I thought to myself, if it was under 60, I was probably going to play the over. I think if you like Colorado, maybe you just hope that they get to 31 or more. That's their team total. I think they will. And I think for them to win this game, they're going to have to get into the 30s. I don't see much stopping from Kansas here. Kansas isn't a real good defense, if we're being honest. We don't really trust their pass defense. It seems like every game that Kansas plays in outside of last week is 34-31, 37-34. I'm going to lean on Colorado. I'm going to lean on their team total here. I think they put up 30 or more.
Guys, we got one game left in this segment. We'll bring in Mid-Major Matt for the middle portion of the Every Game on the Board Saturday podcast here, wherever you're downloading your podcast at. Every Game on the Board. We'll try to get a best bet out of Jeff as well before we end it. But first up here, Jeff, 141, 142, Gainesville, Florida. We're heading to the Swamp. The Florida Gators off a big win. Now kind of stepping up in class, I would say, hosting Ole Miss. Ole Miss minus 10-point road favorites, 55.5 being the total, 12 noon Eastern kick in Gainesville.
Yeah, I like the under in this game, 55.5. I think it's a little too high here. I think Ole Miss is right there as one of the best defense in the country. They've been really good on the defensive line. I think they'll have an answer for DJ Lagway, the kind of high-end Florida quarterback. I think I've been real impressed with Florida's defense too recently, really outside of, when they really step up and play like a Texas or Georgia. I thought they were really good last week against LSU. They've done a nice job at times this year shutting down good attacks. Something tells me this is first to 24 wins. This is an Ole Miss team. 8 of 10 have went under this year. And I think Lagway, they find something for him here. Drew, you look at 70% of the actual bets are on the over, but the money, about 50% of the actual money is on the under. So I'm going to go under 55.5 here. Pretty key number. We have in 55 covered. I'm going to go under.
Great breakdowns overall, Jeff, man. This is segment number 1 at Jeff Nadeau on Twitter. Jeff, any best bet you want to throw out there for the listeners? Most confident play, if you will?
Yeah, I feel like these have done pretty well overall. I think I had the Washington State over last week. That one found its way over. A lot of my numbers have moved, Drew, but I'll throw this one out there. Kind of a team that I've had no problem betting overs with. North Texas, ECU over 73. This was the first game I bet this week. I got 72.5. Both these teams, Drew, top 5 in the country in seconds per play on offense. They just are so quick. I mean, they're running, between plays to get up to the line. Since firing Mike Houston, ECU has scored 43 points a game over the last 4. They've been moving the ball at will. Shouldn't have any trouble moving the ball against a bad North Texas defense. Drew, ECU, second in the country with 19 plays of 40 yards or more. This is an ECU pass defense. It's not good either. They've been shredded by Tulsa and Temple. We shouldn't have any reason seeing North Texas not score points. North Texas is 6th nationally with 17 plays of 40 yards or more. We have 2 just big play offenses here with quality quarterbacks. Drew, North Texas, only team in the country with 7 or more plays above 70 yards. These 2 teams love the big play. I think we see a high-scoring matchup here, 45-38, 48-40, something like that. I'm going to go over 73.
Great breakdown to end it. And actually, 73 is the consensus number, but we can give you the best number on the board. Offshore right now, 72.5 over in the North Texas, the Mean Green game over the total. Jeff, anything else you want to throw out there before we shut this down?
No, appreciate you having me as always. Like I said, it's disappointing that the season's almost over, but, got plenty of football still left.
Absolutely, man. We'll have a great weekend. Great breakdowns as always, Jeff. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with section number 2 of the Week 13 Every Game on the Board podcast. We simulcast live as well on Twitter this time, so let us know if you're watching. For Jeff Nadeau, I'm Drew Martin. Cash those tickets. Thanks for tuning in.